Hello, crafters! Oh my goodness, I hope that you have stayed with us and you are able to log on. We have had some technical difficulties. Oh my goodness. And this is supposed to be a lucky day, St. Patrick's Day, right? So we are going to wait for some people to jump back on. And I'm just going to go ahead and just start talking. Oh my gosh, if you are watching the rebroadcast of this, well, let us know what you think about the cards at the end of the video. We would love to look at your comments. If you're joining us and you're new or you're returning, thank you for finding us tonight. Oh my goodness. There we go. Hey, Gloria. I hope that Monty can also figure out, how to get back to us. But hopefully people will jump on. Gloria, we have had quite the mess tonight to try to get on. Well, I want to wish everybody a happy St. Patty's Day. And it's only Diet Dr. Pepper. Oh my gosh, you can hear and you can see me, Dawn. Now I just need to calm down a little bit. This is crazy. I don't know what happened. We don't want to waste a lot of time talking about that, though. Just so happy that you could find us. Hey, Pat, thanks for finding us. Hopefully, Maudie will soon log on. That's my sister. We do this creative journey together and our bloopers together, too, right? Oh, my goodness. Well, I know she'll be on, and she is the person that will be over in the chat room talking with you and answering any of your questions. So she will come on very shortly. I know she'll figure it out. So tonight we're excited because we're going to talk about bundles. And if you're new to crafting, a bundle is just a way for a company to sell you stamps and dies together. So, hey, happy St. Patrick's Day. That's right. So usually they give you a discount, and we love bundles. So when we start buying our crafting supplies again within the next month, we're going to look for those sets that actually have a stamp set and a die set together. Because you know what? When you buy bundles, it saves you time, right? Because you're not fussy cutting. Hey, Carol, you found us. Yay! It saves you time. It saves you frustration because, we all fussy cut, but do we really like to fussy cut? I don't know. I don't. And a lot of times I get frustrated. And let's see. So it saves you time. It saves you money and frustration. So we love it. So tonight we're going to be working with this bundle. Now this bundle has some terrific dies with it. It doesn't have an embossing folder, but we're going to show you all that you can do with this stamp set. Now remember, you can use any kind of flowers that you have, any kind of shapes or images that you have. You don't have to worry about it. So let's head down to the crafting table and let's get this night started. Okay, the first card I want to show you is this one, a very simple easy card. We made a background using the stamps. And the other thing we really like is that this stamp set is a two-step process. So you don't have to worry about blending, coloring, anything like that. And then the other thing that we really, really like is that this has some dies in it that don't really match the stamps, right? It has these frames in it. And a lot of times when they sell you dies, they have that. That's why we really like to get the dies that go with the stamp set. So here's just one example of what you can do with the card. Very easy card to make. You don't have to worry about it. It just, kind of makes itself, right? Well, tonight we're going to up it just a little bit. And we are going to make a card like this. We're actually going to use foam pad beneath this, and we're going to stamp in here. So we're going to step it up just a little bit, and we're going to make two cards. So I want to go ahead and do this one first because we're dealing with white paper. And, by the end of the night, I'll probably have inky fingers, and I don't want to ink all over this white paper. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to emboss this paper. Oh, good. You have sound. That's fantastic, Joan. we're going to emboss this paper, and we are going to use painted texture. Oh my goodness, we just love this. You can use any embossing folder that you have, but oh, we just love this one. And this is a 3D, so it really gives you that extra dimension, right? So we're going to bring in our cut and emboss machine. Oh, Dawn, thank you so much for sharing our channel. We are working so hard this year to try to grow our channel. And so every time you give us a thumbs up or you comment or you share, it helps us so much. Thank you. Now, look at how beautiful this is. Oh my goodness, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Now wait till you see what we're going to do next. We are going to take this piece of foam paper, and this is a great tip. You know, you can use dimensionals, but for something like this where I need it raised all the way because we're going to cut out the flowers, using a piece of foam works so good. And you can buy a sheet. They come in like 6x8 sheets. And you can get those at any of your craft stores, and they're so inexpensive. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we are going to glue this on. And then we're going to decide where we want to cut out our flower, and we're going to cut it out. Oh my goodness, it's so pretty. So let's go ahead and glue this on. Now let me share another tip with you. When you're working with foam like this, you want to make sure and cut it just a little bit smaller than your actual mat, because this is just a normal mat. This is 5 1/4 by 4. So you want to go ahead and cut this like 5 by 3 3/4, because when you put it through your cut and emboss machine, it spreads. It gets a little bit bigger. So let's go ahead and just put our glue on the actual foam pad. Hey, Mary, you found us. Yay. Thank you, thank you. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and lay this down, and you just need to kind of center it and kind of feel where it is. And make sure when you're working with white on white, you know, you don't want inky fingers. So we're just going to do that. Hopefully Maudie will be popping on shortly. Okay, so we have that glued. See how it is? It's just like that. And you may, after you run it through the embossing machine, you may have to cut a little bit off, but that's okay. So what we want to do next is we want to get out our dies. And let me show you a little tip with this. You want to make sure that when you use this to cut out, that you have it upright. Because, you know, you could just as easily turn it and think, well, that's the way it goes. So put a little marker, a little black mark right there on the top so that you know where the top of it is. And so we're going to be cutting out kind of like this. And then our sentiment is going to go right over here in the corner. So let's go ahead and use our purple tape. We love this highlighter tape, and it lasts forever. We got it on Amazon. It works so good. So let's go ahead and just get that right there and just line up our leaf. And now we're going to run that through our embossing machine, but we need a different sandwich, right? So we're going to pick out our sandwich that we need to run it through. And yes, when you run this through, it is going to squish it, but it does pop back up. So you don't have to worry about that. So let's just get that laid down. Bring in our embossing machine again. And see, really, if you didn't have the dies, you wouldn't be able to do this. You could use an X-Acto knife, I guess, but boy, would that be hard, right? And you know what? I'm going to run it through one more time because it is kind of thick. So let's just run it forward and run it backward and see what happens. Now, when you take this out, let's get this. You can just pop this out. See, it just pops right out. Oh my goodness. And you know, of course, save those for later because you can use those on a card. And just take this off. Now, it will pop back up a little bit. Now, it's not going to get back to its original height, but that's okay. That works out just fine. And just very carefully take this off so that you don't tear the mat. Okay. Now, look at that. We have white on white. And what I like about those dies is that right there, see how it, I don't know, you can tell there's an edge around it. Oh, I think that's so pretty. And y'all can still hear me okay, right? Hey, Pat. From Alabama, we're so happy you're here. So we are going to go ahead and glue this down right on the top of our card. Just checking to see if you can hear me okay still. Because Maudie is not here, so she hasn't logged back on yet. Now, we're going to go ahead and just put our glue. We have to put it all over to really get it down. So while I'm doing this, if you could just let me know, say, yes, we can still hear you. I haven't been notified that there's anything wrong yet, so that's good. And if not, I'll just post this video. Okay, so we're going to make sure that we get glue everywhere because we need it to really adhere to the front of our card. Sound is great. Thank you, Mary, so much. Okay. Now we're going to bring in our base card, and we're just going to lay this down. Get it centered. Now, it's really going to take shape in just a moment. Hey, Carol. Thank you, Joan. You can still hear us. Hey, Pat. Thank you so much. Great. So happy that you're with us tonight, Carol. Okay. So now we have everything popped down. Now the magic begins. Okay, let's keep our fingers crossed. We are going to use the two-step process, and we're going to use polished pink and melon mambo. Now, polished pink we're going to lay down first. So we're going to go ahead and take the base of the flower, and I put a little black mark so I would know what is the top. And we're just going to hopefully stamp right down inside that area right there. Get it lined up. Make sure it's lined up good. And stamp. Ah, look at that. So pretty. And now we're going to do our second step. And this is the stamp, and we know that the circle goes at the very top. Oh, Carol, thank you so much. We just love our crafting friends. We can all get together and just share. So now what we need to do is get this back down in there again, right? So we're just going to make sure that we're all lined up, and then we will stamp it. Oh, and look at that. Oh my goodness. I'm telling you, leaving it on the white just makes it pop. And now we need to go ahead and do the green on the leaf. So I'm going to get out a wipe because I can see I have some inky fingers. Is it ever possible to stamp and not get inky fingers? I just don't think so. How do y'all do it? Do you get inky fingers? Okay, so now let's go for our leaf and see how we do. Thank you so much, Deborah. So let's kind of turn this because we need it to go down in there. So let's get it lined up and just go ahead and push it. And there we have it. Oh my goodness, so pretty. Now we need to go ahead and stamp. And to be quite truthful, you could have stamped your message right here on the front of your card and just left it. But I didn't stamp it. And after you emboss your mat. You do not want to try to stamp it because you have hills and valleys. And so you don't want to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this in, and I'm going to stamp it on some white paper. And I hear Maudie coming in. You know, we live right next to each other. And so I'm so happy that she just came on over to the house. So she will go into the office and she can just access you that way. And if for some reason she has problems, I'll run in there and I'll get her up and running. So we're going to go ahead and just stamp this. And I think I'm going to go ahead and stamp it in the darker pink, which is the Melon Mambo. So let's just get that, and then we will cut it out and just add it right there. I mean, that will also be very, very pretty. Now, on the other one that I showed you, we didn't do that, but we're going to do it on this one. Let's just see. Oh my goodness, look at that. So pretty. And we're just going to take our little scissors and just cut it out. No problem. And we can add it right there. Now, you could also add a border. Now, we did decide to use a different sentiment than what came with this stamp set because, quite honestly, we wanted it to say a little something different. So I'm just going to cut around that sentiment. And I may decide to go ahead and put a border around it. I'm not quite sure yet. Let's just wait and see what it looks like. Okay, so let's just get that. Oh, there we have it. And if Maudie needs some help, I'll be over there to help her. Now, I think I'd like to keep it white. So, but I just can't quite decide. I'm thinking out loud here. If I should put a little bit of maybe Melon Mambo around or leave it just like that. I'm looking at some other ones we did. You know, I think I'm going to get some Melon Mambo, and then we'll just make a little border around it. So let me get that. And what we can do is we can just add it on dimensionals and then cut around it. I think that would be quite pretty. You know, good thing about dimensionals when you're crafting, do you find this to be true too? When you add dimensionals, it really adds to the presentation, I think, and it just takes it to a new level instead of the card being flat. So, I just think right here, okay, we're going to go ahead and put it right there on the paper, and then I will cut around it. So, let's just cut around it and see what that looks like. I think that'll be very pretty.
Connected to Bluetooth.
My phone's talking to me. Did y'all hear that? Siri wanted to tell me that she's connected to Bluetooth. Sponge edges. Oh, yeah. You know what, Carol? I think you're right. That adds such a pretty presentation when you do sponge. Yes, you use the daubers. That's what I mean by that. So we could have just taken our Melon Mambo with the dauber and just gone around the edge, and that would have been very pretty as well. So, yes. Now, let's see. To add something, a little something would be great. I think you're right, Pat. I think you're right. So, look at that. See, I think that just adds to it, doesn't it? So, now we're going to go ahead and just add a few dimensionals. You could lay it flat, but I think dimensionals, like I said, always kind of add to the presentation. And let's see. I'm going to get that right here in the corner. Now, because this is a white card, you don't have to add a piece of paper here, but do you see how flimsy it is? I think it would be a good idea to go ahead and cut a mat, and I think it would be really pretty to cut the Melon Mambo. So let me see about that. Let me go ahead and cut our first mat. And you know that the first mat is always 5 1/4 by 4. That's your first mat. And then the second mat needs to be white, so we're going to go ahead and cut that one. And that one will be 5 by 3 3/4. If you're leaving just that, 1/4 of an inch on the side, which is what we like to do. Okay. So I'm going to lay that down. And I just think that just adds to cards. Plus, it's not just about adding to the cards. It's also about the stability of it. It makes it much sturdier to have that. Now, we don't want that to be all for this card, right? So we need to stamp a little flower right here. And I think we'll go ahead and we're going to use the smaller flower, but the same colors. So let's start with the polished pink. And just stamp that right there. Oh, isn't that pretty? Now on our second card, that's what we're going to be using. We're going to use that flower set. So I think you're really going to like that. It's a very easy card, but it's panels. I think it's very pretty. So we're going to go ahead and just do that. And look how that just comes to life. Look at that. Oh, love it. And now we can put it down right here. Now, stick with us because we have 1, 2, 3 more cards to show you. We really went crazy with this bundle. And we tried to think of all the different cards you might want to make with it. So we have some that are very different. And just one, Maudie made this beautiful one that I want to show you at the end. So here's our first card. This is a cutout, and this is why bundles are so good. Card mat and stamp. Because the dies allow you to cut this out and then inset a stamp, right? And also, you have these for later on. Something else that is so wonderful about dies, do you find this to be true? You can use it as a mask. So like if you were going to put your leaf on this card, you could cover this up and now stamp your leaf. So you don't have to worry about it getting messy on your flower. So that's really nice. You can create stencils and masks with those dies. You don't just have to use them for the cutouts. So here's our first card. Now let's move on to our second card, which is going to be some panels. And this is, very simple card to make, but now I need to clean this off. And oh my goodness, we have come up with a cleaning solution and a hack. A hack to clean your stamps with. We're trying it out for a week, so we're not going to share it just yet, but I love it. I love it because my little spongy thing kind of got smelly and I didn't really like it. So we have something else we're using that is biodegradable and is doing such a good job. So the next card that we're going to make is we're going to take this gorgeous grape, and we have some mats on the front. Now, one of the things, I think that goes, it goes on the inside. One of the things we're going to do before is we're going to go ahead and use the same embossing folder, and we're going to emboss this because I have found, and I don't know if you think this is true, but it really looks flat a lot of times. When you just have a card, it looks kind of flat. So let's go ahead and get this embossed and see if that doesn't add some more life to it. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can find my embossing folder. Oh, there it is. And the way we're going to emboss this folder is we're just going to put it right here on the card. Let's see. It's this way. So we're just going to add it right there. And I'm just going to emboss this. Run it through the machine. So we need to get the right plate and run it through. So I don't see Maudie yet. Okay, that is 4, 1 and 4. Let's see, maybe I have another plate. Let's see. Maudie, oh, there you go. Hey, yay. Okay, I need to see what's happening. It says 1 and 4. And I'm going to turn it sideways. You know, a lot of times, I don't know if you know this, but it goes through a lot easier if you kind of turn it sideways. So I'm going to do that and see if we can get it to work. There we go. And let's see how that looks. Oh, look at that. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so we're going to put this to the side. And here we have our base card. Now on this particular card, you're not really going to see much of this mat. And this mat is 4 3/4 by 3 1/4. Now, I want to remind everybody that our measurements, if you give me about an hour, will be up on our blog on Creative Moments by G. And while you're there, if you haven't already done it, sign up for our newsletter. We sure would love if y'all would follow us on Facebook and Pinterest. We have all our cards that we've made. Oh my goodness, we look at it and we can't believe we've made this many cards. So that would be great. So the next thing we're going to do, we're just going to put this to the side because this is actually going to be just a mat for our panels. And I'm going to bring in the next mat and we are simply going to stamp it with Gorgeous Grape. And we are going to create some panels that I think you're really going to like. Now we are going to use this one. And we're not going to, even though it's a two-step process, we're not going to do that. We're just going to do this very easily. And we're going to start right in the middle because we want to get it even. So let's just go ahead and stamp that. Oh my goodness, look at that color. We just re-inked our Gorgeous Grape. Oh, Pat, we'd love for you to look on Pinterest. Okay, now we're going to bring it over to the side. Look at that. Oh, we just re-inked it, and it has made all the difference. That purple just really pops. I'm going to go ahead and stamp it. And look at that. So pretty. This is a very easy card, but, you know, it really pops. So we're going to move that to the side. And because this is 4 1/4 by 3, our panels are going to be 1 1/16. So you need to go ahead and bring in your trimmer and make sure you keep these all lined up and just put 1 inch and a 1/16. It's that first little mark. And that way you can get 4 panels. So here's one. I'm going to move that over. Move it to 1 1/16. Keep it in the same order. Move it again to 1 1/16. And cut it. And so we have our panels cut. And now we are simply going to line them up on this. So we need to make sure that we have about the same border. So another tip would be to start at the ends. So let's just line this up right here. And then put the middles in. And then you can see exactly how much room you have. So look at that. There we go. So let's go ahead and get those. We're going to go ahead and lay them on dimensionals. So let's take this one, add some dimensionals, and we'll get it laid down. Okay, so we're just going to line this up again. And notice we have about the same amount of border on all sides. So we're going to go ahead and do this one. This is the end one. And you really don't need that many dimensionals on this. So get this one. Give us the same amount. Okay, and now we can just bring these in, you know, and just a little something different. The other cards are just as different as this one is, but we use the same stamp set. And what's great about this, you don't have to have this bundle. You can use any bundle that you have. Now, what's really nice is when your bundles have an embossing folder. That really makes a nice touch. Okay. So, just going to add this. Don't want my head in the screenshot there. Just get that lined up. And there we have it. Now we're simply going to lay this flat. So we're going to go ahead and glue it. And then we used one of the frames to cut out the sentiment from the stamp set. Now, because this has 4 panels, we had to do a landscape card, you know, where we open it up this way, okay? So there we have this. And now look what we did. We used the frame in the stamp set, and we used the die right here to cut this out. That makes it so nice. And we're just going to add that right there. And we'll just add it on some little mini dimensionals. That one. And let's see. Get that centered right there. Now we need to go ahead and we need to put a mat on the inside, right, because this is way too dark, but we need to stamp a little bit. So I'm thinking we'll go ahead and we'll bring in our gorgeous grape. Keep everything in the grape family. And just stamp that right in the corner. Boy, I love that deep, rich purple. Now this is going to be right here in the corner, right there. So let's go ahead and just get that laid down. And then we can show you the other cards that we created using this bundle. Oh my goodness. So let's get this. We have our cards that we created tonight. So very different. Here's the card I showed you. Very, very simple. We created our own background, right? Now, here's the one that I showed you that we did a little differently. And you know what's nice about this is it's DSP. So that really adds to how quick it is. We didn't emboss it. We just added DSP to it, which I think is also very pretty. Now look at this one. We did the exact same thing. We embossed our background. We put a little DSP right behind it. And we simply stamped and cut out the flowers. So just something very different. We didn't stamp and on the card, but we just cut them out just for something a little different. Look at this one. We made a wreath out of it. And what we did here is we simply punched out a circle and put it down with a little repositional tape, and we stamped around it using the stamps from the set. The purple is just so pretty. And then we just doubled up on some of the frames. Now what was interesting is we started with just these bottom 2, but we didn't like it. So we cut out a purple frame. And I think that really made it pop. Sometimes it's the smallest thing that makes a card pop, right? And now I'm going to show you. Oh my goodness, this is so beautiful. I think Maudie outdid herself. Look at this one. She cut out 2 frames. This is a circle with stitching, and then she cut out this green frame, and she just stamped it's not hard. She just stamped the flowers and added them around the frames. Oh, I think she did an excellent job. My goodness. So which one would be your favorite? What do you think? I mean, we love this stamp set. So many possibilities. And the fact that it's a bundle saves time, saves frustration, saves money. We love that, right? Well, ladies, thank you so much. Crafters, we just appreciate you finding us and coming back, finding us and staying with us tonight. We appreciate your comments. If you didn't get to make all your comments, feel free after we post the video. It'll go live right after we end this. Leave a comment below and give us a thumbs up. We would so appreciate that. We're working hard to grow our channel so that we can share our crafting ideas with everyone, right? And we need you to help us do that. We hope everybody had a fantastic St. Patrick's Day. Remember, we go live next Tuesday at 10 o'clock. Hey, Patricia, and thank you so much for stopping by. Well, we want you to go out and have a fantastic weekend. Be safe. We will hopefully see you next Tuesday, and make it a great day. Thanks so much, guys. Bye-bye.